You know the story. A spurned lover, a false accusation, a hero's life on the line. I mean, we've all heard this 1,000 times, right? But what if I told you the original version of this story wasn't written on paper or even papyrus, but was actually etched into clay 4,000 years ago?
Yeah, that line probably sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's from the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife, right out of the book of Genesis. It's that classic, tale of virtue versus temptation.
And of course you know this story. I mean, it's that age-old trope, right? The woman who gets rejected and decides to turn her desire into a weapon. It's this powerful, timeless archetype that just keeps popping up in our stories over and over again. But here's the thing, that story of Joseph, it's not the beginning, not even close. It's an echo. The original story is so much older, way more brutal, and get this, it doesn't involve mortals. It's about the gods themselves. So, our key piece of evidence comes from the old Hittite capital, Hattusha. It's this clay tablet right here. Now, its official name is CTH 342, but I want you to think of it differently. Think of it less like a dusty old myth and more like a 4,000-year-old cold case file. And believe me, it reveals a divine drama that is absolutely shocking. All right, so who are the main players in this heavenly scandal? Let's meet our divine suspects. Okay, we've got 3 key figures on our board. First, Alkunirsa. He's the big creator god, the patriarch of the whole operation. Then there's his wife, Ashar-Tu, a powerful sea goddess. And finally, our hero of the story, the young and honorable storm god. You might know him by his other name, Baal. So let's start with Alkunirsa, whose name literally translates to El, creator of the earth. So yeah, he's the head of the Canaanite pantheon, the top dog, the big boss. But, and this is the weird part, as we're gonna see, he's a surprisingly passive guy. He's this huge authority figure who seems almost completely detached from all the chaos happening right under his own roof. And then there's his wife, Ashar-Tu. Okay, she is the absolute catalyst in this whole mess. She's not just the queen, she plays the role of the seductress, and when she gets rejected, well, she becomes the avenger. Think of her as a classic femme fatale, but, the divine edition. And that brings us to our protagonist, the storm god. His whole thing? Loyalty. That's his defining trait. He's the honorable hero who basically walks right into a trap and, through absolutely no fault of his own, ends up becoming the accused. Okay, the stage is set, the players are in position. Now, let's get to the inciting incident. This is where the powder keg really ignites. So the storm god goes to visit Alkunirsa's home, right? But the creator god isn't around. His wife, Ashar-Tu, however, she's there. And man, she does not waste any time. She makes this incredibly direct, totally shocking proposition. The words on the tablet, written in Hittite, are blunt. Sleep with me. Now, what's so fascinating here isn't just that he says no. It's how he says no. His rejection isn't just a simple refusal. It's basically a sacred oath. It's this profound statement on loyalty, on honor, and on the unbreakable laws of hospitality that were a huge deal in the ancient world. He lays it out for her line by line. First, he says, I have eaten his bread. Then, I have drunk his water. And he finishes with this powerful knockout punch. I cannot sin against my father. See, for him, he's bound by the laws of a guest and his host. To betray Alkunirsa wouldn't just be wrong, it would be violating a sacred, fundamental trust. So, what does a spurned goddess do when she doesn't get her way? Well, pretty much what you'd expect. She pulls out this timeless tactic of revenge. It's a literary pattern so common that it actually has a name, the Potiphar's wife motif. And yeah, you guessed it, she's about to try and destroy him with a lie. So the storm god gets out of there, and he goes and tells Alkunirsa everything that happened. And this is where the story takes a really bizarre, totally unexpected turn. A twist that tells you everything you need to know about these characters. I mean, seriously, just think about it for a second. Your guest comes to you and says that your wife tried to seduce him and then threatened to accuse him of assault. What would your reaction be, right? You'd expect outrage, maybe disbelief, something. Not Alkunirsa. His response is chilling. It's so calm. He basically tells the storm god, yeah, I know what she's like. Go back there, humiliate her, frighten her, put her in her place. He literally gives the storm god permission to go punish his own wife. Wow. He knows exactly who he's married to.
So, armed with the husband's blessing, the storm god goes back. But he doesn't lay a hand on her. No, his revenge is purely psychological. He looks her straight in the eye and tells her a lie that is just designed to completely and utterly shatter her world. He says, "I have killed your 77 sons."
And that right there is the key. He didn't actually kill her sons. He killed her pride. This was psychological warfare, plain and simple. By claiming he wiped out her entire lineage, he strips her of her status as a mother of gods. He basically tells her, "You're not a queen anymore, you're just a servant." It was a move designed to absolutely demolish her pride. But as you can imagine, Ashurta's humiliation doesn't last. It curdles into pure rage. The tablet says she spends years just stewing on this, and finally, she convinces her husband to hand the storm god over to be executed. And it's right here, at the climax of the story, that we can finally connect all the dots and get back to that lie we talked about at the very beginning. Okay, check this out. This timeline, it reveals everything. Our Hittite myth, the one we've been talking about, dates all the way back to the 14th century BCE. Fast forward 200 years, and what do you know? The exact same plot shows up in an Egyptian story, The Tale of Two Brothers. 400 years after that, boom, it's in the Greek myth of Bellerophon. And then almost 800 years after our original, it finally appears in the Hebrew story of Joseph. You see, this Hittite tablet isn't just a story, it's the original. It's the blueprint for all the rest. And this table just makes the pattern impossible to ignore. Look at it. We're talking 4 different cultures spread out over nearly 1,000 years, and the roles are always identical. You've got the seductress, you've got the honorable man who gets accused, and you've got the devastating consequence. The names change, the locations change, but the fundamental lie, it stays exactly the same. Now here's the part that's super frustrating for historians, but honestly kind of fascinating for us. The tablet is broken. It literally cuts off right after the storm god is warned about Ashurtu's new plot to have him killed. We don't know what happens next. We don't have the official ending. It's a genuine 4,000-year-old cold case. So in the end, we're left with this broken story that actually reveals a completely unbroken truth, that human, or maybe divine, nature hasn't really changed much in 4,000 years. And it forces us to ask a pretty tough question, right? If the gods themselves, the very beings that are supposed to represent cosmic order, if they lie and lust and betray, what does that say about the nature that we inherited?